Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about something that is definitely concerning if it is true anyways, and it's possible that there has been some changes since this quote was actually made, but I do want to talk about this quote here from David Zabel on the amount of episodes that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3 could actually be. So yeah, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Tomorrow I will be posting a Q&A video, so stay tuned for that. If you do want to take part in that Q&A, definitely go and join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. I'll do that Q&A video tomorrow, and yeah, just stay tuned for that video. But let's actually get into this here. So first of all, I saw this article here from Collider, and I knew that this was mentioned at some point here, but I just wanted to go back and see exactly what was mentioned. So I believe this was actually during Comic-Con, and so the question actually is asked. So Norman Reedus is doing an interview here with David Zabel as well as Melissa McBride, and so they actually ask about the amount of episodes here. And so I guess the interviewer here asks about season 2 and season 3. So the interviewer says the first season, I believe, was 6 episodes. Is season 2 6 or more? And David Zabel says 6 again. And then the interviewer says, will season 3 be 6? And then David Zabel says season 3 will be 6. And so right there, that's concerning to me because that's basically confirmation that season 3 is going to be 6 episodes, which we'll talk about in a second. But I've talked about it a lot throughout the last, honestly, over a year now. But, while the show was airing, I would say this show specifically, out of all the spinoffs so far, is definitely the worst in terms of, the pacing, because it needs to be more episodes. Like, everyone is saying that. The Penguin is 8 episodes. Like, so many shows are at least 8 episodes. 6 episodes is not enough. 8 episodes, honestly, you can do a lot with that. And just because the show only airs once a year, like 6 episodes is just not enough at all. And like doing 8 episodes, I think would be perfect. Even 10 episodes, right? Like somewhere around there. I think 8 to 10 episodes is honestly the perfect amount. Like you don't want to do 16 episodes like you did before. I think a lot of us would like that, but I think that, they have a different approach now that they're doing with these spinoffs. So I think at least 8 episodes. Honestly, the 6 episode thing, I think we were all okay with that for like the first seasons of these shows, but now that we're actually, that's the thing. Okay, so The Ones Who Live season 1, it was only 6 episodes, but the reason why I think for most of that season it was all right was because there was the possibility of a season 2. And yes, that possibility is still out there. They might do that at some point, but it's not going to be a continuing series in the very same way that Daryl Dixon and Dead City are, where we're probably going to go up to season 6 or 7, 8 or something like that, right? And so I think for The Ones Who Live, it was fine up until the ending, and then they wrapped up everything so fast, and then it really just wasn't the most exciting, I would say. And so now going into Daryl Dixon season 2, everything was rushed because you had to have Carol there, you had to end the whole Pouvoir storyline. Also, Pouvoir was really not that big of a part of the story, I would say. The focus was more on the Nest, and they made the Nest villains, which I really wasn't a fan of. Everything felt better after episode 4, and like before that though, everything was just a giant mess. Like I talked about that already, I already did a video on that, and so I always said like 6 episodes, like that's what you need to do. And so I don't know why AMC is choosing to do the 6. I don't know if it's because, it's David Zabel or Scott Gimple. Like, I don't know who's deciding for it to be 6, but it needs to be more. Dead City season 2 is going to be 8 episodes. Honestly, that is so amazing. That show, I'm going to love that show so much because the pacing is going to be really well done, because I'm expecting one of the episodes in that season to be a bit slower of an episode where it's just focused on character stuff, and maybe we get like a classic Walking Dead moment happening, right? And it just builds up the story really well. Like this past season here, I just can't believe how much happened in 6 episodes. Like, it was just crazy. I'm not used to that. And doesn't mean that it was good. Like, it wasn't. Like, I think at some points it was, but I just think the pacing wasn't, very well done. And so the fact that he's saying that season 3 is going to be 6 episodes, I'm hoping that AMC is seeing some of the criticism right now, because it's not just me saying this. There's a lot of other people saying it as well. I do see even just comments everywhere, people saying like there needs to be more episodes because 6 episodes just isn't enough here. And so I will say this quote was made around Comic-Con, which was like 4 months ago now, which I can't even believe. Like, what? That was made 4 months ago? Like, that's insane, right? But I do wonder if things have changed overall. Like if AMC is seeing the criticisms now, maybe, you know, in the last minute here, they're like, you know what, we need to do 8 episodes here. So we're going to have to restructure how certain things play out. I believe they're filming like episode 3 or something right now, like 2 or 3. You know, they started filming at the very end of August, early September or something like that. So I think that, you know, at this point now, it's been close to at least 3 months or 2 months for sure that they've been filming. I think that it makes sense. Like you could probably, you know, change a little bit of that and actually do 8 episodes. I think you could actually do that here. And the reason why I'm saying this here in terms of, you know, have things changed overall, David Zabel, obviously he's the showrunner of the show here, but he says 2 things here that don't really relate overall. And I'm kind of confused. Like during Comic-Con, I guess he says this one thing. And then recently with the Hollywood Reporter, he actually said something else here. Or at least I got the quote from Hollywood Reporter. And so he says something else about the same exact question, basically, which was Collider says, when you guys agreed to do this new show, was it like we have a 5-year plan, we have a 3-year plan, or let's just see if fans like this show and go season by season? What is it like behind the scenes in the design of the overall arc? And David Zabel says, that's an easy question, at least at the beginning. We really had a 2-season plan from the beginning because we knew pretty early on that Melissa was going to join us. So those 12 episodes, 6 and 6, were kind of imagined all together. We knew what that 12 episode plan was. Beyond that, there's not a huge plan, but we try to think of 12 episodes at a time. It's announced that we're going to be doing season 3 in Spain. We're certainly thinking ahead to what comes after that in season 4, but we don't have a grand plan beyond that. I don't know if the series is going to be 4 seasons or 6 seasons or anything like that. So again, he said this during Comic-Con, and that was like, what, 3 or 4 months ago already, basically saying that there's not really a huge plan overall. You know, they're trying to think of what season 3 and 4 are going to be like here. They're working out something here, but in terms of beyond that, like they're thinking about it, but there's like no grand plan overall. And so now you get into what he just said after the show ended here, and that is, in terms of doing a season 3 and going to Spain, he says, that's going to be so exciting for reinventing the show. It feels like all signs pointed towards us continuing to move and get to the next place. In seasons 5 and 6, it could be a different place. They'll keep moving until they get home. So obviously he's talking about it hypothetically here, but he does say here that he has a long-term plan. So he actually says, I've talked to Norman about it. There is a very cool plan, but we don't even know if we're going to make season 4 yet. At some point, I imagine some things might be determined by what other characters in the franchise are doing and where they are. So yeah, that goes into that whole thing that we've already talked about, but he does say here, right, like the article says, though the Walking Dead spinoff series has only officially been renewed through season 3, Zabel says he has a long-term plan. I've talked to Norman about it. There is a very cool plan. So like, that's what I mean. Like just before that, a couple of months ago, he was saying there's no grand plan, you know, like they don't really know how far they're going. Like they're just focusing on like 12 episode blocks basically. But now he's saying that they have a long-term plan. He's talked with Norman about it. So did that happen recently? And that's where I'm wondering if there has been like changes made in the last couple of months, because maybe they've been seeing the criticisms that there's not enough episodes. Like this show can't be 6 episodes. And I'm just like, you know, because I look at Dead City, like we haven't watched season 2 yet, but I imagine when that show airs and the fact that it is 8 episodes, you're going to see how amazing that story is. And then you're going to watch Daryl Dixon season 3. And what if it's not as great? And the criticism still, again, is it's 6 episodes. Like, I think because they're filming right now and it's still early on in filming, that you probably could add another 2 episodes there. Like, you could do that. There might be some issues with doing it, maybe, but like it's possible. And this way, going into season 3, you're not going to have any complaints. Like, that's the one complaint with the spinoffs. If you're looking at all the spinoffs right now, the main complaint is the story is always rushed. Going into season 3 here, like if you add 2 more episodes, you're already getting rid of that concern. You're showing fans that yes, we are listening, and like we know you want more episodes here, you know you want the story to be fleshed out a little bit more, so you know we're going to be doing that. Dead City season 2 is doing that, and so I'm excited to see where that's going to go. And then I mean, for Daryl Dixon season 3, we're going to have to wait and see. And as of right now, based off of what David Zabel said, you know, a couple of months ago, it is supposed to be 6 episodes. I hope that that does change at some point here. Based off of what David Zabel said with Collider, like, it's possible that there has been some changes over the last couple of months, because since Comic-Con, obviously they started filming, you know, at the very end of August, and a lot of things I would say have probably, you know, changed overall. Like, they haven't really got to see any of the criticisms for Daryl Dixon season 2 yet, right? Like, I think they're seeing a lot of it right now, and so I'm hoping that they're doing their research and they're like, you know what, we gotta try and make this better, because I think you should always do that after every show that you air. And so let's do this, let's do that. And the big complaint so far, like if you you literally look at all 4 spinoffs that have come out so far, or not spinoffs, but seasons of these spinoffs, Dead City Season 1, I would say the pacing was overall fine. And that's the thing about those first 2 seasons of Season 1 of Dead City and Daryl Dixon. The story was all about, like, building up this new world, creating the whole new world that, we have now, which I think that's why 6 episodes worked. There were some pacing issues a little bit here and there, but I think it's stuff that I can overall overlook. I think that in Dead City Season 1, there was the whole arena battle. Some of the build-up there, I think an extra episode somewhere around there would have worked really well, because I think that there was something missing there in between meeting that group in that building and then eventually going into the arena and having that battle. Like, there was just something else that should have happened around there. The world felt really small, and then going into Daryl Dixon, it was their journey getting to Paris where they just got there a little bit too quick. I think an extra 2 episodes probably could have told that better. But again, those were really my only complaints of both seasons. And The Ones Who Live, the pacing worked really well for the first 5 episodes. It was really well done. And then the very last episode, it was just rushed so much. But I still think even if you had an extra 2 episodes there or 4 episodes, like if you knew that the CRM arc was going to be ending there in that season, what you probably should have done was had an extra 2 episodes to tell that story better, for like when Rick and Michonne go back to the CRM. But again, you didn't. And now this is the first show here with Dead City Season 2 where you're really like, okay, the pacing is getting very bad. And you're looking at it overall. And yes, pacing has always been an issue. But the first seasons of these shows, I think you're able to get away with it because you're just introducing everything. So it's a much simpler story already, right? Season 2, though, it was not a simple story, and we saw how much of a mess it was, and I just really wasn't that big of a fan of it. And so I'm just hoping that for Season 3, we do get more episodes. Like, there might be a change, like a lot of this stuff was said at Comic-Con before anyone watched the season, before anyone saw any of the criticisms here, and they are still filming it right now. It's not like they're done filming, right? Like, they're in the beginning of filming right now. I guess almost halfway, if they are going to be actually doing 6 episodes, but we'll have to wait and see, because I remember with Dead City, I think that the rumor was that it was only going to be 6 episodes, then eventually it was like 8 episodes, so maybe they changed that while filming that, right? Like, I am interested in terms of how they're going to handle a lot of that, because eventually they're going to have to talk about this, right? Like, I think when Dead City is coming out and there's a lot of promotion for that show, there's going to be a lot of questions about, like, well, why 8 episodes with this, right? Compared to The Ones Who Live or Daryl Dixon only getting 6 episodes. I think that those questions are likely going to be asked, and it'll be interesting to see their explanation for all of it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I just wanted to talk about this here because I know there's been a lot of questions on, like, are we going to be getting 6 episodes with Season 3? Hopefully there's more. And as of right now, it seems like it's probably going to be only 6 episodes, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they do actually change it, because again, that quote from David Zabel saying that was around Comic-Con, and so maybe things have changed since then. It wouldn't be too hard to work out a story there, to be honest. Like, you can still have certain moments maybe play out in certain ways, but insert like 2 episodes, in the middle somewhere where you just have like characters sort of having like these character moments, or just, I don't know, explain the backstory behind, I guess why this person did this or whatever. Like, maybe there's a newer character, right? And you don't have to show us the backstory, just through conversation, have a classic Walking Dead character building episode, right? But anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.